They have the hard-hitting analysis.
I'm anti-injury, so maybe this won't work out.
Kyler's only playing one tight end this week, so that's probably going to help him out a lot.
They tell it like it is.
That's not what I needed, Grandpa Nut.
All right, the hipster fantasy player.
I don't do anything.
Their listeners love them.
Found all your charts boring, to be frank. Caitlin was the star of the show.
They break down all the statistics.
20 points. That doesn't quite add up. Maybe he had 93.
This is the Snick Snack Sports Podcast.
Here we... All right, Snickers, help me out.
What's going on, all you football fans out there, ready for another week of the fantasy playoffs?
That's right. The fantasy playoffs are here. How are you doing tonight, Nick?
I'm doing great tonight. Nate, how are you?
Doing great. It's here. I'm in it. Beat Kyler last week, and we're all excited to see how it pans out. There's a chance at a repeat from Kyle,
Yeah.
one of the top narratives of the season, and looking forward to all of it. We've got a special guest on the show today. I always say that, but it's extra special because he's prepared to dish out some bet punishment.
Yeah. And then go on and take a nice week off as well. So be fun to have our guest on.
Absolutely. It seems like you're on a bit of a streak as far as the bet goes. What's going on there?
Yeah, got a win last week. The bet was Isaac Grendo versus all the other San Francisco running backs, and Grendo topped them all, even though Pat Taylor got a tutty. Grendo got 2 and 120 yards from scrimmage, so we felt pretty confident on that one watching the game. So the bet's 9-5, down 4 points right now, with 6 points up for grabs in the contest here, in the playoffs.
That's right. And it's going to be, I think a close one, perhaps closer than it seemed earlier with your streak. And as you'll see in a second, I think we've taken a bit of very opposite takes on the playoffs. So, let's take a look at how the standings panned out real quick. You can see here that the final seedings, we have our leader Kenny beating Kyle in the final round. Could be a championship rematch, perhaps, but Kenny won pretty handily here. Kyle gets second place based on points for. Matt got third place after beating Ducky, who came in fourth. And then it was myself in fifth, mid-tier Nick in sixth, with Kyler, Carson, you, Katie, John, and Shane rounding out the toilet bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, Shane had one of the most impressive seasons I've ever seen, going 1-0 and then 12-1 the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shane real quick.
We were looking at the points for before the show, and there was a wide range this year, I think wider than usual. The average score for a typical game ended up being 106 points, meaning that if you scored more than 106, you should expect to win. On average, Shane scored 81 points every week. Which was 40 points less per week on average than my team at 122.
Should we take an advantage the fact that Shane and Katie both scored 0 one week?
Actually, I didn't take that into account, so he didn't do quite as badly. I was wondering how in the world did Shane score 150 points less than the 11th place person. Now, Snickers, you realize that means that you scored fewer points than Katie despite a 0-point week.
I was just about to bring that up, yeah. No, Katie scored a lot against me in that one win that she had against me there. But I had a couple bad weeks, a couple really good weeks, a couple fun weeks. But yeah, unfortunately, got the number one pick curse again. I'm bringing it out right now, 2 years in a row, that the number one pick goes down mid-season. And actually, McCaffrey only played, 3 games. So be fun to. I was thinking earlier this week, I don't know if this is a negative thought or unsportsmanlike, but maybe I should try not to win the toilet bowl this year, even though I've never not done that before. So I don't have to pick the number one overall pick this time again.
You don't have to pick the number one overall pick, even if you win. You can pick a reasonable pick like 5, which is always very safe.
Yeah.
So are you saying right now that if you win the toilet bowl, you will in fact be picking first overall?
It all depends. I went into it with an open mind last year. Chris McCaffrey seemed like a home run. He said he might have an injury, and then all of a sudden, Monday night, 7:55 p.m. of week one, I'm like, he's not playing. What do you mean he's not playing? He's going on IR. So I felt like I get kind of screwed by Kyle Shanahan there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, let's get into our new bet format here with the playoff
Yeah,
bracket done the last few years. You guys remember?
that's right. We'll take a look at my bracket first. I think that people won't be too surprised. Ducky and me face off in the first round. Easy choice, I win, right? I beat him in the regular season once, anyways, was 1-1. Um, we are pretty close in score right now in the projection, but I'm gonna win. Then I'll beat
Yeah,
Kyle, and then I'll win the championship. On the other hand, Matt is going to beat Nick Adams with his great team after he made a great trade with me, very beneficial to both teams. Matt will then beat Kenny, then it'll be me versus him, and the all the trade haters out of there will feel embarrassed that the two participants in the trade are facing off, and ultimately I'll win because my team was stronger anyways. That's the
yeah,
story.
it's a bold prediction there for all of that. I don't really agree with really any of those, but if you skip on over to my bracket here, we have Ducky and Nate in the first round. I think Ducky's obviously going to win that. Looking at both the teams, I think that I mean you have Jamar Chase. That's all I can really give you there. But Ducky has so many great matchups this week. Meaning his players in the NFL have great matchups. Derrick Henry against the Giants. CeeDee Lamb against Carolina. Isaiah Pacheco against the Browns. I think that Ducky obviously gets that win. And the Nick Adams and Matt trade that we're talking about here, I think that Nick gets it because the guy that you sent Matt, Ken Bone Walker, might actually not actually play this week. I know he's been out for a couple weeks. He's currently projected, but the Sunday Night Football, if he gets pulled out at the last second, Matt's kind of screwed there and not gonna be able to win that matchup. So I have Nick moving on, going to face Kenny. Kenny and Nick going up against each other. I think with the sixth seed, Kyle was a great story last year, but yeah, Nick's gonna get stomped out by the number one, and Kenny goes on to the finals to face the winner of Kyle and Ducky. Who this was probably the toughest decision in the whole matchup here. That they both have a lot of really good players. I really do think that Kyle's team's a little bit better than Nick's there, and he's gonna go to the finals to play Kenny, and Kyle's gonna come out on top, repeat champion. I don't necessarily want this to happen, but it's just what I think is going to happen. I don't want him to be another new Kyler, who obviously is the only other two-time champ we've ever had, 2 times in a row champ we've ever had. But yeah, very different brackets. Very excited to do this. If all of mine come true, I'm just going to destroy you. If all of yours come true, then you'll find my punishment. But
It's true. We have entirely different brackets. No picks were the same this year. Um, and you're going more based on seeding. I'm going more based on passion, I think, and that's fine.
yeah, how
Um,
passionate you feel about kissing each of them?
could be. That could be part of it. And um, your matchup ha has the exciting mid-tier Nick versus Kenny in the semis. I would love to see
Yeah,
that, but unfortunately, I doubt that it'll come to that.
yeah. No, it's going to be a lot of drinking in the finals. We're going to have Kyle and Kenny in the finals, and then have Nick or Kenny just in the background, just drinking the whole time. They're not going to be part of the interview.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kenny and Nick cannot play each other in the finals. But I'll take a semi.
Yeah, you'll get a
Um,
semi. Yeah,
and we will see. Now let's just take a brief look at last week's scores. I ended up, it looked like a very lopsided matchup, but this one actually did come down to the wire because Jamar and Joe Burrow had
Monday Night Football. Yeah,
on Monday Night Football ended up scoring a combined, 66 points. And so it was
yeah,
if they had had a bad game, I would have lost. Um, and that would seem very possible, down by 20 going into that night.
yeah,
Um, so, good game there, Kyler. You had a very good run at the end, but couldn't quite cinch it. The Carson Shane matchup didn't matter, but Shane had a really bad game. Kenny destroyed her brother in a very triumphant last game of the season.
Kyle,
160.
Katie. Yeah,
Um, yeah, Katie and her brother. And so that was impressive. Um, Matt and Ducky had maybe the most exciting matchup of the week. That one
Oh
was
yeah.
going to determine potential seeding implications, potential, would have changed everything had this come out differently.
Oh yeah. I mean, Ducky was up after 1 o'clock. Matt was way up after the 4 o'clocks, and then the Bills Rams game came around, and Ducky kind of benefited from that, getting 40 points there from Stafford and Cooper Kupp to go back to pretty much even, but Matt was able to pull it out.
Yeah,
Get the free
ultimately,
seed.
my former um, player, Rico Dowdle, um,
Hmm.
brought it home for Matt. Great trade on his part to pick up who's now a starting running back. So,
Technically, yeah.
and then there was I thought this was closer than this, but Kenny and
No,
Kyle ended up not being very close, it seems like.
Kenny wanted the win. Came in with her Puka Nakua, also benefiting from the Rams game. Juwan Jennings came in and swept the floor with Kyle, who didn't have that bad of a week. 97 is not that bad, but
It's
Chase
a
Brown and Justin Jefferson being the only guys helping him out there. Cardinals defense -4 obviously kind of stinks.
Yeah, 97 is an expect to lose score. But
And Zach Charbonnet with 38 points on the bench. See, number one
yeah,
running back on the week.
yeah, that was crazy. He might have been. That I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah,
Number one
um,
receiver on the bench on Kenny's side, Jordan Addison.
yeah, that was if Kenny had played Jordan Addison, he would have scored the highest points of any team this whole year. It's
Yeah.
wild that he scored 161 and there was a 40-pointer sitting on his bench.
Oh yeah. It's very lucky that both these guys have buys this week, because if I were either one of them, then Jordan and Zach would have to be like the number one guys in my lineup this week. But they have another week to think about it, see how they do.
Hmm.
Hope that it's a fluke if they like their lineups now, or move them around if they want to change it up. But
Yeah, avoid that bias. And then we have the ultimate shame. Four players on John's roster scoring, or five players scoring 0 points. Four because they were on bye.
yeah, no, that's rough. I mean, John knew that he got eliminated. Someone had told him, and didn't really think about setting his lineup anymore.
Unfortunately, not huge implications on that one. That could have been very controversial otherwise.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what we had for last week, and I think we're all excited to welcome our guest to talk about the first week of the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Right after today's sponsor, which is right now.
Are you tired of diets that don't work? Exercises that are too difficult? Or maybe you just don't want to be a loser? These are all valid reasons to start the CA2 method. Created in a non-meth lab by the world-renowned Caitlin Anthony of Caitlin's Hot Takes, the CA2 method is here to take your performance to the next level. A few of the revolutionary takeaways from the CA2 method include eating a diet of 20% nightshades and 80% butterfingers, Pinot Grigio for acidity, never Chardonnay, no Tom Petty for any reason, and muscles are purely for show. They don't actually do anything. People have been raving about the CA2 method. Just listen to what Katie has to say.
I use the CA2 method because, have you seen Caitlin? It, obviously works. Plus, that Tom Petty guy, totally sucks and, for sure stole her idea.
So if you want to look and feel like Caitlin, run to your nearest bookstore to pick up the CA2 method. You won't regret it.
Well, that's my roommate they're talking about. So thanks to
Yeah.
CA2 for sponsoring the show. And yeah, now please welcome Kenny. No. Welcome, Kenny. What's going on?
Well, okay, so I guess Nick won the bet last time that Nick and Adams and I did the bet. So we got a shot and we got a pounder to shotgun. So I guess I'm just gonna get into it then. I'm not a wuss. I will pay my bet. Shot on the new iPhone 16 Pro.
Wood
Wow.
chips.
The real commitment, because you're outside and there's snow out there or something.
Oh yeah, it's cold.
Here we go. We like to drink with Kenny.
There it goes. Very clean open.
Oh.
And he's
Oh,
done.
that bus. Here we go.
Wow. Well, we appreciate you, Kenny. That was some commitment.
Well, I'm always committed to the bit. Always commit to the bit. Never afraid of it.
And we were just talking, if you and Nick Adams line up in the week 2, he knows that the stakes have been raised.
Oh, stakes are always raised. We're ready for them.
Well, we'll let you get cleaned up maybe, and we'll see you inside.
All right, yeah, I'll be inside in a sec.
See ya. Well, Kenny, that was impressive.
That
Two drinks.
was that was tough. That was I haven't done a pounder in a while, and I don't know that I've ever shotgunned one. It was a little tough in the middle there, but you just got to hold on to it. If I lost the bet fair and square, I like a good little bit of nonsense and competitiveness here with Nick. It's just a lot of fun. So you just got to hold on to it. You got to power through.
And
Yeah.
that was a tall boy, I believed, right?
That was an icy light. So icy lights are local to Pittsburgh. Figured since Nick's a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I gotta go with the local Pittsburgh beer here. They're probably one of the better choices I could have made. With that. Shot I led with was a uh, wild dog or something peanut butter whiskey.
Dang. Yeah.
So I mean that's just what I had. That's what it felt like. I was like, this is gonna be a little tough, but we'll go for it. It tasted pretty good though.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Is that what you're telling your team to just power through, just make it through to the end of the season here?
I
Since you
can power through strongly here. We're just ready to punch it out.
you destroyed Cal last week.
Yeah, despite Nick's doubts on me. Uh Nicely clipped from the pod last week. I remember though. I will
Yeah.
remember. I have
Geno Smith.
receipts.
Yeah.
I appreciated the clip out. A very straightforward calling out, and he was obviously wrong. You scored one of the highest points on the year, and had you just played your cards a little differently, you would have had the highest score of the whole season.
Yeah. I saw Addison sitting on my bench, but just I don't know what led to Sam Darnold just absolutely balling out over on Sunday, but I was like, man, if I lose because of this is gonna suck. And then the rest of my team was like, hold my beer. We're not done yet.
Yeah, holy cow. And we were talking last week, but what does it take for Addison to make it into your lineup? He's been good for a while now.
I mean, so it's tough because like I want him to be good, but then there's also the weeks where he puts up 7 points. He had a little bit of boom bust feel to him for a little bit. Now it feels like, we got a good rhythm going. Sam Darnold, I think one of the biggest surprises of the season. Like you hear JJ McCarthy's injured, you're like, oh, the Vikings are so screwed. This is done. This is the disaster. All gonna fall apart. I saw on Reddit today like a link back to like the post from when the Vikings picked up Sam Darnold, and all the comments just absolutely shitting on the Vikings fans. This is the worst thing ever happened. Sam Darnold's earning himself a contract somewhere. I don't know that it's with Minnesota next year, but he's earned himself a contract, and he's keeping him. He's keeping somehow keeping Jefferson fed, feeding Addison. It was an incredible week. So maybe he's earned the spot. He might be sliding his way in there. But I got an embarrassment of riches right now. I got so many good choices. It's hard.
You get a week to think about it. Yeah.
That's true. He has a week to disappoint you, and a week for everyone else to make you feel a little less confident in what you've got on your team. Now, will you be setting your lineup this week just to kind of give everyone a boost at seeing a high score?
I absolutely did. I 100% like just set the couple little people I'd want to adjust. My lineup is set as if I was playing.
Now, fortunately, it looks like you will win. So
we're off to a great start for the playoffs.
And I love how when you're playing yourself, they seem to give you way more stats.
Yeah, I kind of like this. I've never actually seen this view. I'm not used to having buys. This is a new experience for me. Normally, if I'm in the playoffs, I've barely squeaked my way in. So it's kind of nice to get this view and like see like nice big stats and everything. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially seeing your two kickers laid out right there.
Absolutely, that's where they're supposed to be.
And now, of course, the main attention this week will be on the two playoff matchups. I'm in one of them, and your rival will be in the other. Let's start there. Looks like Nick has gotten off to a decent start. Oh, that's a defense. Okay, so we don't know. Um, but yeah, him versus Matt. And full disclosure, we already revealed our brackets on the podcast, Kenny. We went
Okay.
opposite ways on this one. I called Matt, Nick called Nick. What do you think?
See, this one is actually, I think, really tough. Sorry, there comes the whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, but Kenny, if think about it, if Nick wins, then you guys have to play each other again. And
I would prefer to play against Nick again. I think that's way more exciting. Um, I mean, looking at Matt's roster, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure if Matt gets through it. It's this one I think is like honestly just across all six playoff teams. I think all of our teams have really kind of come together. I think they're all strong.
hmm,
God, this one's tough. I think Matt's gonna get there, but I would prefer to see Nick just because I like a good rivalry match.
Yeah, I mean he has a very healthy 123 projected on Matt's side. Um, he's got his you know a new starter in Rico Dowdle. It seems like Kenneth Walker apparently is going to be back in, so maybe this trade will pay off for him after all.
I was gonna say
Um,
that's I think the big key is whether or not if Kenneth Walker plays and that would make the trade worth it for him because otherwise I have not felt that this trade has played out well for him. Like just with the amount of times that we just see Jamar Chase just go insane. I don't know. I didn't believe in the trade working out for him, which I
yeah.
always find funny because Matt likes to rag on me for my trades. They're not great, but I think his was worse. I genuinely, unless Kenneth Walker pulls him through this week, if he falls apart this week and doesn't pass forward, I would say the trade is the biggest bust we've seen.
well, I was talking to Matt about it earlier this week when he was responding to the meme that Kyle posted about, comparing the trade to the Red Sox trade and how they were both like, the shittiest deals anyone could think of. I thought that was a really good meme.
That
But
was a good one.
the I think we both agreed that the way that our league will remember that trade will all depend on Matt's playoffs, If he
Mhm.
wins this game, I think people might start to think of it as being, even if he makes it to the finals, people might think, oh, well, getting two good running backs out of it maybe was worth it.
Mhm. No, 100%. It's all, I mean, anything is remembered by the results. Like whether or not you should follow results-based thinking, the results matter at the end of the day, and that's how we remember things.
Oh yeah.
And so I think this is make or break for Matt. If he gets through and does well in the playoffs, you were going to remember it on, wow, can you believe he had the guts to do that and that worked out for him? And if it fails and falls on his face, then we're all gonna remember him for that. And Kyle's meme just holds true. But also shout out Kyle. That was a funny meme. That was a good one.
Yeah, very clever way to make that point. Now Nick has Bucky Irving, and that was a very infamous trade this year. No trade back on that. And it seems like Bucky kind of panned out to be a pretty good player. How are you feeling without, I mean, your roster's stacked, but it could have been better with him.
It would have been even better with him, for sure. I feel fine at the end of the day because I ended up with just the way my rosters ended up. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is always a top 5 running back. Chuba Hubbard, now that Jonathan Brooks tore his ACL again and is unfortunately gone. Yeah,
Rest in peace. Yeah.
that's a tough one. Like just really tough to see. Like he finally came back and then just to tear the same ACL again. Like that one hurts to see. But knowing that Chuba is now guaranteed number one running back in Carolina. There's no competition there. Like I have him going. I have Brian Robinson Jr. with Eckler out on IR, and then I got Puka, I got Juwan, I got I got Jordan Addison. Like the team worked out fine. It would have been better with Bucky, but it would have been harder for me to have to pick who do I play. It
Yeah.
might have been a little more challenging for me. I
Hmm.
don't know. You gotta make it. Gotta make it. But I think at the time I made the right decision, but in retrospect, yeah, I would have preferred Nick not having Bucky. He could have had Xavier Worthy. That wouldn't have helped him much here.
Yeah, no, he was hurting for running backs. I don't think he realized what he was getting in Bucky Irving at the time. But I mean, Isaac Guerrero helped him for 1 week, and I mean he's playing right now. He did end up playing, but he's not
Yeah,
doing so well. I'm not sure what happened with that, if he's getting a lot of competition from his teammates. But essentially, I think that Nick's team is in trouble without another running back, so worked out for him.
Yeah.
Now let's look at the other matchup, which is between me and Ducky. Here we are. Ducky's the higher seed. I'm a little bit favored at the moment just because I've been on a bit of a hot streak with the help of the
Mhm.
Jamar Burrow stack. And I think that Ducky is currently suffering from a Cooper Cup goose through, well, 1 quarter. But
yeah,
Yeah, but I think like truly, Nate, like outside of myself, because I think my team's stacked. I think your team is one of the scariest right now. Just the Jamar Burrow stack is, I think, going to be deadly, and that is something I definitely fear. Maybe I should pull oh God, what was the figure skater that hit Nancy Kerrigan or got the hit on Nancy Kerrigan? Do I need to pull one of those? Tanya Harding. That's what I'm
Tanya
thinking of. Do
Harding,
I need to
yeah.
pull Tanya Harding on you? Maybe I maybe I orchestrated the break-in at Burrow's house to mess with him. Who knows?
ooh, Joe's pretty upset about that, man.
I don't know. Maybe I'm here to mess with the mentals, but no, I think this stack really sets you apart. I think just the potential explosiveness of it, it's something to fear, and I think this is going to propel you over Ducky. In my mind, I have you beating Ducky this week.
Yeah, the scariest thing is, as Snickers highlighted a little earlier, was that there's a lot of green numbers when it comes to Ducky's team in terms of matchups, and my team is all red numbers this week. Tennessee is a decent defense, which I forgot about. Um, and um, well, I'm not so scared of Nico playing Miami. He's another one of my main guys. AJ Brown playing Pittsburgh though, not so excited about that. Um,
But
and
Pollard rushing on Cincinnati's defense. Cincinnati's defense is Swiss cheese.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
that could be
surprised
good.
they weren't giving me the green number on that one. It was like 14th or something, but
I mean, I don't see why though, because I think he's just going to run through him like Swiss cheese.
I'm
Speaking of
guessing.
Swiss cheese, Derrick Henry's gonna slice through the Giants over there. We
That's
got
true. You do have that working against you. That is definitely not something to work in your favor. Cooper Cup not really doing anything at the moment. I think is like you need kind of breaks like that. You need a few breaks like that, but I think if Burrow and Chase do what they do what they've been doing a lot recently, I think you just cruise here.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the Ravens just don't need Derrick Henry. Maybe they get a couple of big passing touchdowns early. And then I think the key with Tony Pollard is that maybe one explanation for the Cincinnati good running back rating is that everyone can pass on them so well. But Levis maybe can't pass on them so well. He's been terrible this season. So maybe Tony P will be their solution.
Maybe.
Um, but I'm pretty pleased with myself for getting Nico, Jamar, and AJ Brown on the same team. While they've been playing, I think they are all in the top five for points per week. You won't see them that way in the final standings because of injury, but I think that was what Katie did to our league years ago when she had that really good run. I
AJ
think
Brown and Julio Jones and Derrick and Hopkins all on the same team. Remember that?
I think stacking wide receivers works. Um, so we'll see. I have confidence in it. Obviously, Nick went the other way on this one, but
Got
um,
to have some amount of competition between you two. Like you can't just agree on everything.
oh, and we did the opposite. I believe we disagreed on all six picks. So
Really?
indeed,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh
For
yeah.
a quick look at our brackets here, Kenny. We shared it with everyone else, but this is Nick's bracket. So he has you in the finals versus Kyle, but doesn't have you taking it home,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
and
Nate
he
has you not winning a single game.
that's right. I have me and Matt in the finals. So,
You know,
um,
I hope you guys remember, I keep receipts. Just remember, I keep them.
I might lose the battle, Nate, but I won't lose the war here.
Okay.
Kenny steals stuff from Joe Burrow's house. You watch out.
No,
Yeah.
I orchestrate. I don't do the stealing.
Well,
It's ringleading.
Kenny knows that I think it was like week 3. I declared very prominently and very confidently that you weren't going to win another game this season, and you got the first seed. So perhaps I'm your good luck charm, Kenny. You don't want my confidence.
You know, maybe I don't, Nate. I just don't. You keep it to yourself. Give me the hate. I want it.
You heard it here first. Kenny will be winning this year, everybody. Um, but
No,
let's take a quick look at the offers report. Pretty boring this week.
no
No,
$86 being dropped on a player.
No,
who
there's no one to pick up, man.
I don't think there's anyone to pick up. I think classic just $1 for random defenses. That's totally normal.
Yeah, including Kyler grabbing one for the toilet bowl. So glad
Because
they.
Against the Buffalo Bills.
Kyler has the bye this round, doesn't he?
I actually don't know how that works. I haven't looked at the toilet bowl bracket that Matt said. I know for those of you who are not aware, the you can ignore the ESPN matchups for the toilet bowl because we are doing it separately, so we can get a real bracket system going. Um, so yeah, he may well have the bye if we're doing it that way because it would be Carson and Kyler with
I think it mirrors the playoff bracket where the top two seeds get the bye. Because I think I came in 7th last year and I had the first round bye for the toilet bowl.
Yeah,
Mm.
we battled out for the Toilet Bowl championship, and I won that one.
You took home that toilet bowl.
You'll see if you can get the one that matters.
I mean, it has the biggest stakes for next year because that's how we do picks.
That's true. It's always important, and even even coming in second is still really good with that. Coming in second in the toilet bowl, it's nothing to scoff at. Sometimes you can draft well from that position.
Yeah, if the winner of the league like this year, Kyle just got whatever was the pick no one wanted. I don't remember which one it was. It was probably like 12 or 11, but sometimes that hurts. Although this year he performed well from wherever he drafted. So,
Oh yeah.
um, but that's all that we've got. Is there anything else that you want to share with the league, Kenny? Should we be afraid?
I mean, I think we should all be afraid. I think we should all be afraid of each other. I'm maybe a little afraid of you, Nate. I think everyone should be afraid of me. I think maybe all a little afraid of Ducky. Never know.
Yeah, he and Kyle have both had kind of bad weeks the last few weeks, but everything could turn
They
around
might,
very
I was
quickly.
gonna say they might be due for a turnaround. I think we all need to be a little afraid, but we'll see how it all plays out. The dire cast, we all have our spot. Let's see where it goes.
And let's not forget that some people have more money to spend than others. I've got $5 sitting in my wallet, so if I'm gonna have to be sneaky if I want to put that to good use.
I got 16, so I got you beat.
Yeah. Um, and I think that Nick Adams, well, he spent all of his money last week. Actually, I was gonna say he had the most. There is a couple people with some bigger wallets out there than the two of us.
So I think you gotta be careful if you're hope. You pray for the injury gods to give them give them your mercy. May they give you mercy in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
exactly. That's a good point too. Anything can happen with injuries.
Anything can
Yeah.
happen. Anything can change it on the. All it takes is one freak play, and your season derails here at the end. So
Absolutely.
it's a race to the finish. I'll meet y'all at the finish line.
I think that's a
Wow.
great,
So inspirational.
yeah, I think that's a great thought to close on. Thanks for joining us this week, Kenny. Really fun to see you, take that bet and hopefully dish out some more this year.
I hope to dish it out again. I'll be waiting for Nick if he makes it there.
For sure. We'll see everyone else next week. Take care.